David Crawford called and examined. Mr. Caird, you are a fisherman here. I am not a fisherman at present, but I was about 18 years ago, and I was a fisherman for about 17 years. For 17 years previous to that? Yes. And since that, for the last 18 years, have you been a fish buyer? Yes. In the course of your experience over so many years, have you noticed any marked change in the quantity of fish brought on shore here by the fishermen? When I went fishing 24 years ago, we got as much fish in one day as we could now get in 6, and on the same ground. Where we used to fish 24 years ago was in 24 and 25 fathoms of water. Just before the smacks came among us, we could go and get from 20 to 25 score a day. And now at the present time, we may fish 6 or 10 days for 25 score. Has that falling off been in any particular kind of fish or in all kinds? In all kinds, especially in cod and haddock. Had the size of the fish decreased as well as the quantity? There is not so much difference in the size, but there is a great deal of difference with regard to the scarcity of fish. Have you a good supply of bait here? We have not a very good supply of bait. Where do you get your bait? We generally get it from Boston deeps. Have you none on the coast here? We have flithers, or limpets as you call them. Have you no mussels on your shore? There is a little spawn, but they come to no perfection. Have you never had mussels here for bait? No. Have you always been in the habit of getting them from a distance? We have always brought them from Boston deeps. Has the supply been equal to your requirements? Have you always had enough without, say, difficulty in obtaining it? Yes, we have always had sufficient bait. Has the price increased at all? No. Then the falling off in the fishing has not in any way been occasioned by a difficulty in obtaining bait. Not at all. We have as good bait as we had then, although it is rather scarcer. What do you think is the falling off of the catch of fish? The only true evidence I can give you is just this. The supply began to fall off about 24 or 26 years ago, just when the trawl fishing commenced. We used to fish up to 24 or 27 fathoms of water, and we could get plenty of fish. After 7 or 8 years, we were altogether banished from that ground, which was northwest of Flamborough Head, and we had to come into 24 fathoms of water. The trawlers followed us down there. Formerly we could get as many fish as we liked, and now there is not 1/4 part of the fish to be got there that there was formerly. Were you ever in the habit of fishing on the Dogger Bank? Yes. Do you perceive any falling off in the quantity of fish you used to get there? Where we used to get 150 stone of halibut in a day, and sometimes 200 stone, we might now fish for 6 days for 100. There is just about that difference. And how do you think the trawl boats have operated in diminishing your catch? The only evidence I can give on that point is this. I consider that where they can get 1 ton of valuable fish to bring to the land, there are 2 or 3 tons of small fish that are wasted and thrown overboard. Have you ever been on a trawl boat when the trawl was drawn up? Never, but I have frequently had conversations with men who have been trawling. You were never alongside when the trawl hauled up? No. Have you bought trawled fish? Yes. In what state were they when you bought them? They were hardly fit to eat. Had the vessel been long at sea? They cannot get in exactly when they wish. Sometimes they are 2, 3 and even 4 days before they get in. Speaking of trawled fish as compared with fish caught by the long line, have you noticed any marked difference between trawled fish and longline fish? Of course there is a great difference. It is generally 6 hours before the trawl is taken in, and fish are dead before they are hauled up. Do you buy trawled fish at the same time as longline fish? Yes, I have done so occasionally, but very seldom. Can you give us any comparison of what you paid for cod caught in the trawl and cod caught by the long line? Sometimes we can buy trawled fish for sixpence and ninepence a piece, while we always reckoned that our long line fish would fetch 1 shilling sixpence or 2 shilling. Would that be for fish caught on the same day? Yes. Fish coming ashore at the same time? Yes. Fish equally fresh? The fish would not be equally fresh, but there would be very little difference. If I had a quantity of fish set before me as a fish buyer, some of it caught by the trawlers and some of it caught by our long lines, I would give a shilling a head more for the one than the other. Would you do that even without looking at it? Yes. Would that be because you believe that trawled fish would be inferior? Yes. Is it not the case that the fish is sometimes alive when brought in by the trawl boats? There may be some, but it would be very few. Then you might make a mistake in the price you give in that way. We always reckon a long line fish to be worth double as much as a trawled fish. The fish cannot be so good after they have been dragged along for 6 hours at the bottom of the sea. Have you ever gone to Manchester Market with your fish? No, I never was at Manchester. Have you ever been at any other market? None but Hull. Is that some time ago? Yes, 20 years ago. If I understand rightly, you had no trawled fish then? No, very little. You cannot tell us the difference in price between trawled fish and longline fish in the market. I can prove that our fish is worth 2 shillings a stone and that trawled fish is not worth 1 shilling. Is that in the Manchester market? In Manchester, Liverpool, Leeds, Sheffield, Nottingham and other places. How do you know that? I have had an account today. Were they in equal condition? I cannot say. Then you cannot really draw a comparison. All the statement they give us with regard to trawl fish is simply that trawl fish is at such a price. Have soles fallen off much here? We never have many soles here. What they catch here, they catch generally by the hook. Do you catch any mackerel here? Yes, we have got a good many this summer. Is mackerel fishing followed as a business here? Never before last year. Have they begun to get mackerel nets here? No. Do they catch them with the herring nets? No, they catch them with hooks. Is that found to pay well? Yes. Do the mackerel come in with the herring? They come in the same season, in August. Have they ever been here when the herring were not here? No. Are there any sprats caught here? No. Has the herring fishing diminished or increased? It has diminished a good deal. To what do you attribute the diminution? To nothing but the trawlers taking up the spawn. Do you think that the shoals of herring are as strong as they used to be? No. Do you not find that you may have a good season one year, then a bad season, and then a good one again? Yes, but I take it from 20 years ago, and I am quite satisfied that they are not as plentiful as they were 20 years ago, and that the quality is not as good. Have you as many herring boats now as you had 20 years ago? Yes, we have 13 large boats more. What was the number 20 years ago? 13. And how many have you now? 26 or 27. How long is it that the Frenchmen have been off your coast? I do not know. Do not they come off your coast? I have not seen them this year. How is the price of herring this year compared with what it was last year and in previous years? The price is not so good as it used to be. It has not been so good this year, buying them on the beach as it was last year. Do you mean that you do not give so much to the fishermen? No. Do you get as much for them in the market towns that you send them to? No. If we did, we should have to give more for them. You cannot speak so much here as at other places with regard to the interference of the French fishing boats with the herring fishing. When I went to sea, they used to interfere very much with us. I do not know whether this is the case now or not. Is there a large fishing here for crabs and lobsters? Yes, we have a very fair and good fishing of both crabs and lobsters. Does that continue to be as good as it used to be? No. Which particularly has fallen off? Lobsters. What is the cause of that? I am sure I cannot say. Are they more closely fished than they used to be? No, I do not think there are any more men engaged in catching them than there used to be. Are they not fished over a greater part of the year than they used to be? No. Are not the same drill caught more frequently than formerly? In the winter time, about Christmas, they catch a few lobsters. Crabs not diminished in the same proportion as the lobsters? No, I do not think they have. I understand you to say that you have been a purchaser for the last 17 years. Yes. Taking this year and comparing it with 10 years ago, can you buy as many crabs and lobsters now as you could then? Not as many lobsters, but as many crabs. Has there been a change in the price of the fish since then? There has been a little change. The price of both of lobsters and crabs has been rather dearer. Do you think the fishermen here are making a good business of it? At present, I am sure they are not. Last year, did they? Last year they did pretty well. Did they do as well as they did 20 years ago? 20 years ago they used to go to Yarmouth. Then 10 years ago. I cannot say there is any difference between last year and 10 years previous. Professor Huxley, you were speaking of the longline fishermen having been banished by the smacks from where they were accustomed to fish. They were not exactly banished, but they left because they could not get any fish. 30 miles off Flamborough Head to the northwest of us, we used to get plenty of fish 22 years ago. But as soon as the smacks came, the quantity fell off. Was the diminution so great in the first year the smacks came that you could get no fish? The fish gradually diminished. How many years was it before you found it not worthwhile to fish there at all? In the course of 4 or 5 years we were forced to leave the place. Did the smacks go over the ground the whole of that time? Yes. Do they go there now? Yes. Then they find fish there. The fish they catch is not what we caught. We think that they have ruined the ground by taking the spawn up. Do you find that the trawlers ever interfered with you by dragging your lines? They have occasionally broken us adrift. Did you ever have your lines carried away by a trawler? Never, but they have occasionally trawled over the lines I had put out and thus have broken us adrift. Did you ever find that they could go over your lines without bringing them up? Yes, it would not bring their vessel up. In trawling over your ground, did they ever carry away your lines? They never carried away mine. Have you ever seen them go over the ground where your lines were set without bringing them up? Yes. Then, do you think that trawling may be engaged in where long lines are set without bringing them up? Not always, but occasionally it may. Do you know of any fisherman who ever suffered great injury by reason of his lines being taken up? Yes, I have known 2 or 3 instances. Is it a thing of frequent occurrence? No. You say that you do not consider trawled fish good to eat. Why is that? It cannot be good for much after it had been dragged over the ground for 12 hours at the bottom of the sea, and then kept for 2 or 3 days in the boat. Do you think that being in the trawl for 6 hours would render the fish unfit to eat? Yes, some of it. Would the fish be bad to catch? I should think so. Some of it would be dead. Is a fish bad when it has been dead 6 hours? It would be when it had been kept 3 days. But if your line fish were kept 3 days, it would not be particularly sweet, would it? It would not take much harm. Do you think that trawling makes the fish bad? I do. Have you ever seen fish come out of the trawl boat bad? I have seen it come out of the smacks bad. Have you ever eaten trawled fish? No. Then it never made you ill? No. Did you ever hear of its making people ill? No, but I have heard of its being seized, though. You heard what the previous witness stated respecting the increase of the number of boats during the last 20 years. Yes. Do you agree with that? Yes. Do you agree with him as to the cost of the boats? I know that one of our boats would cost £600 brand new to get everything in her without the nets and lines. What would the nets and lines come to? Close upon £300. Then do you think that it was an overestimate to say that a boat completely fitted would cost £1,000? I think that is rather above the cost. What sum would you put it at? £800 or £900? About £950, as near as I can come. Do you agree with the last witness as to the boats being free from mortgage for the most part? Yes, I do. You are a businessman. Now let me put this to you. It is difficult for me to understand the exact position in which you are. You state that the fishery has been falling off and that the fishermen have not earned what they did previously. And I want to know how, under such circumstances, they have contrived to put this large amount of capital into new boats. That is a difficult point for me to explain. There may be different persons who own the boats. For instance, there may be 3 or 4 persons owning one boat. Some years ago, there were 9 entirely wrecked. My father had one and my brother and sister another. And when I came back from Sheffield, at the time they were destroyed, they did not know where to get another. But they got up a subscription, and having got friends who stood apart, they got another. I think it would be found to be the same in a variety of instances if the cases were investigated. Was the money absolutely given, or was it lent? I believe it was partly given. I think more of it given than lent. I do not wish to go inquisitively into this. I only wish to ascertain how it was that so large an amount had been invested. The money was freely given. If it had not been for that, many of the fishermen would have been set fast. 13 boats of the value you have mentioned would cost something like £10,000. Do you believe that that sum has been given in the course of 20 years to the fishermen of Filey? No, they have earned it themselves. Then my difficulty is this. How, if the fishing has fallen off, can they have contrived to save £10,000 and invest it in new boats? Some of them have had to borrow the money, but then they have had to pay interest for it. Very likely they have, I do not know. Have you ever set turbot nets upon this coast? No. Is it not the practice here? No, not here. Did you ever find that you were annoyed by the price of fish being lower in any of the markets you supply than you thought it ought to be? Yes. Did you ever find that injure you? Yes, many a time. Often we have not been able to get the price we ought to have. You have not been able to get the price you would have got if the trawled fish had not been there. Yes, a large supply of this inferior fish in the market generally or partially spoils the sale of ours, so that the influx of trawled fish damages the sale of yours. Yes, to a great extent. Mr. Caird, you were speaking just now of some of your boats having been lost in bad weather. Yes. Have you any refuge you can run to here in bad weather? We have nothing here. We can only run into the Humber. You have no refuge in your own bay? No, if the wind be southward or eastward or up in the southeast. Can the large boats run in? No, they must keep at sea or run into the Humber. The witness withdrew.